launches policy document for women in reproductive age. Less privileged persons in FCT receive gift items preparatory to the upcoming Eid al-Fitr celebration by Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society. Plus, FCT Minister condoles with Karu Chiefdom over demise of Saka Rui of Karu, late Emmanuel Kyota Yepwe. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the news at 7 p.m. on NTA Channel 5 Abuja, the Unity Station. I am Frama Panyi. You've heard the headlines and now details. Minister of Health Dr. Osage Ehanire has launched a policy document for the benefit of Nigerian women, particularly those in the reproductive age. Document, which is aimed at helping women make informed reproductive choices, is in partnership with some non-governmental organizations.
And mortality among women of reproductive age, causing increasing fistula rate. The reason for this launch.
It is in furtherance of making progress in the scale-up of these services that we are gathered here today to launch the key documents that I think will contribute a lot to achieving our targets.
Speakers at the event are optimistic that the document is a right step in the right direction towards reducing maternal mortality and providing quality maternal health care.
The community, particularly in the rural areas and the semi-urban areas, then a huge gap exists, and this is what the task-shifting, task-sharing policy is trying to breach.
I already asked her, we can't also rule out the fact that some quacks do this. Would you let a woman die if she's been to quacks? So the government also has legal.
And at the end, there were assurances from stakeholders.
National chairman and 3 others on alleged forgery at the High Court of the FCT Abuja has been adjourned to 20th April. Miriam.
In a ruling on an ex parte motion, Justice Hamza Muazu restrained Julius Habure and 3 others from parading themselves as national officers of Labour Party. The defendants are facing trial on alleged forgery, perjury and criminal conspiracy being preferred against them by Office of the FCT Commissioner of Police. The restraining order followed an ex parte application that was brought before the court by 8 agreed members of the party. The case was called up in court, and Justice Muazu, after listening to arguments back and forth, emphasized that the interim order will still last until the motion on notice is determined. Counsel to the plaintiffs, George Ibrahim, drew the attention of the court to the fact that the interim order was being disobeyed as Habure allegedly parades himself as a national chairman of Labour Party.
Processing for criminal objection to counter affidavit. The last of such processes was even served as close of work on Friday, and that has been the reason why we could not proceed with the hearing of our motion for interlocutory injunction today. Yes, they have done the good thing by briefing counsel to represent them. Why are they still taking laws into their hands? They should allow the course of justice to take its full course, so that at the end of the day, we'll see who is wrong and who is right.
Counsel to the defense.
Intensified acts of worship are sustained beyond Ramadan. Onotu Yakubu reports on the closing of Kismut Da'awa Islamic Foundation Ramadan Tafsir.
Islamic scholars say the Holy Quran is a blessing from Allah to mankind as guide to the right path and oasis on cardinal principles of right living. Sheikh Abdul Nasir Abdul Mumin and other preachers explain that part of the means to attaining the rewards as embedded in the Quran, especially for women, is through obedient devotion, anchoring on the special place which Allah holds them.
They are doing a very vital role in terms of giving us a very delicious food, this and that, even the one who has no wife. You see that we have a bachelor, so they assist them in one way or the other.
In the last 12 years, Kismut Dawah Islamic Foundation has driven the need to propagate Islam amongst women and children in Abuja, to strengthen acts of worship and renew relationships with Allah through righteousness to attain piety.
Islam is a religion of knowledge and education.
There are a lot of needs. There's a lot of handicaps. In the interest of this Ismail Dawah,
The foundation admonished congregants to seek knowledge, as learning, when nurtured the right in Abuja. Unotu Yakubu, NTA News.
More than 300 less privileged persons have received some items for the upcoming Eid al-Fitr celebration, courtesy of the Al-Habibia Islamic Society in Abuja. Abdullahi Ajia brings us details.
With this year's Ramadan fast getting to a climax, the Eid al-Fitr celebration beckons. For the Al-Habibia Islamic Society, the period should be made worth the while for the less privileged, in line with its long-time practice, particularly getting to basic necessities of life, feeding and clothing for them during festive seasons.
We thank God and His Messenger. We thank Al-Habibiyah for the enormous help they are providing to the less privileged. May Allah reward them.
Allah will be. I get food, I get everything there. Are they happy? You know, some people, they will have things 1 year, 2 years, they've not used it. We advise them, give them out.
Why they are able to come out neatly and decently.
For this set of people who now have something to smile home with, Salah came too early and the joy expected guaranteed. In Abuja, Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Helping the needy and the less privileged is a step ahead towards eliminating hunger among the masses. That prompted the Da'wah Foundation of National Mosque to donate food items to the indigent. Aisha Abdullahi reports.
Muslims are reminded to be generous and increase their charitable acts. In that regard, the National Mosque Dawah Foundation Abuja distributed food items to the needy. The chairman, National Mosque Dawah Foundation, Imam Muhammad Kabir Adam, says rewards can never be too much, so Muslims should give more, while advising the Ummah that charitable acts shouldn't be only during Ramadan seasons. The Imam added that donations should focus on the poor and the hungry.
The National Mosque Da'wah and Welfare Foundation distributed food items here in the mosque for about 530 families.
Da'wah Welfare Foundation. It's not only limited to the Muslims, it's limited to the general Ummah.
Really appreciate them. Those that give to us, may Allah bless them and multiply more to them. And we that we are collecting today, may Allah also bless us that a day will come, we too will give to others that will benefit from us.
In the last days of Ramadan, Muslims are encouraged to pray for the peace and unity of Nigeria and endeavor to be a reflection of what they want to see in others. Aisha Abdullahi, NTA News.
Zakat al-Fitr, which is alms given at the competition of Ramadan fast, is an important...
Ramadan fast draws to an end. Muslims are reminded on the need to pay their Zakat al-Fitr, which is a compulsory act of giving to the less privileged to enable them equally enjoy their Salah celebration.
It should be given to the nearest poor person you know.
Okay.
It should be somebody actually who is a Muslim. This is a condition here.
No.
Because it intends giving those who have fasted what to eat on that day. And among the wisdom Rasulullah has mentioned of it is that it cleans the sin of the person who have fasted.
The daily Ramadan program also featured preaching, engaging the faithful on the benefit of Islamic banking in a diverse society.
This is a banking system that has ethical standards in it, good high moral standards, as well as protection of wealth and the proliferation of wealth.
Women were not left out in the package, as they were also reminded to guard their chastity.
When we talk about chastity, it means abstaining from those things that are forbidden by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that is not permissible a Muslim is supposed to abstain from it.
The quiz segment of the program witnessed participants winning numerous prizes. Aisha Bashir, NTA News.
Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has commiserated with Karu Chiefdom over the demise of Saka Ruyi of Karu. Late Emmanuel Kyota Yepui. Onoze Yakubu tells us more.
Represented by the FCTA Permanent Secretary Olushade Adeshola, the minister described the late Saka Ruyi as a person of wisdom who contributed immensely to the development of his domain, adding that his reign brought peace, stability and development to Karu Chiefdom and indeed the FCT. He prayed that God grant the late monarch eternal rest and his family, as well as Karu Chiefdom, the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss.
During his lifetime, the Yepuyi Saka Ruyi was a very forthright person and a person of great wisdom. We were glad to note the various contributions and the legacies they left behind. However, since it is not possible for everybody to live forever now, we have to live with the sad reality of his demise.
Speaking on behalf of the palace, the district head of Jukwe appreciated the FCT minister for the visit and assures of the continuous harmonious working relationship between the palace and the FCT administration.
The late Saka Ruyi was a man of peace and embodiment of wisdom steeped in the culture and tradition of his people.
Senator Philip Tanimu Aduda in his remark disclosed that in line with the tradition of the chiefdom, the formal declaration of the transition of the late H2 will be made on Saturday, April 22nd, to be followed by other traditional burial rites. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Similarly, wives of traditional rulers in the FCT have condoled with the family of the late Saka Ruyi of Karu Chiefdom, Chief Emmanuel Kyota Yepui, who died on Saturday. Aisha Abdullahi brings us the report.
President, Association of Wives of the Traditional Rulers in the FCT, Hajia Hawa Ibrahim Adamu, who led the delegation, describes the death of the Saka Ruyi as a great loss to not only the association but the entire territory. In their condolences, wives of traditional rulers who are mourning with the wife of the deceased and members say the late Saka Ruyi was a backbone to the association and would be missed.
He took everybody under his umbrella. Everybody is one and is the one and the same to him. He doesn't discriminate. He is one of our big husbands, our big brother and friend, giving us encouragement.
One of our backbones of this association, they are giving us support, and anytime we have a here to rectify or to direct us.
The son of the deceased, UP Emmanuel, described his father as a great man from whom he is privileged to have learned several things.
I don't know how to describe him. He's just everything to me. The father of everything.
The Saka Ruyi of Karu Chiefdom, Chief Emmanuel Kyota died at the age of 76 on Saturday, 15th April 2023, after a brief illness. Aisha Abdullahi, NTA News.
President-elect Bola Tinubu has expressed grief over the death of one of his staunch supporters and leader of market women in the FCT, Chief Mrs. Toyin Badmus. Mrs. Badmus, who was the Iyaloja of Abuja and a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress and served in various roles. In the message released by his office, the president-elect praised the commitment of the later businesswoman to the ideals of progressive politics and development of Nigeria. Tinubu lauded the Let's join our sports desk for Sports Brief.
Due to time, the African soccer ruling body, CAF, is considering a harmonized calendar for the 2025 African Cup of Nations and 2026 World Cup, knowing that Africa will be represented by 9+1 countries in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. CAF under Patrice Motsepe is already looking for a way to have the two qualifiers at the same time. The qualifiers will concern the two competitions, and the first of each group will automatically qualify for the World Cup, while the second and third of each group will compete in AFCON 2025. Elsewhere, the 2023 FCT Football Association Electoral Committee on Saturday rolled out the timetable towards the elections that will hold on 17th June 2023 to usher in new executive members.
And Sports Brief concludes.
Yuzo kwa wai ngona na iwo abada zaza isha daje zuma oniye wagoba ngai. Minister no kpeje lafiya ya Dr. Osaje Nere wala be no yekpei no ayinye anko ba ma ayin ko zajin aza no be mabilo Aisha Uba Ali wala sheba we be na beda wa ngange yekpei ko ba ma ko ba jin kwa ma ayin ko zajin no abima ba kpeje lafiya yin ko na wada no bedogun ko de jin gwamnati yan ko yin ganga no ajin apma no ayepe no wa be chen ko ba jin an ko za ajin agba ko fafa no abima ba abi na mabai badajin ba jefi nlanu azakalagba yi du taji ogun ataya be ku majin bo agbogbo ko ba mabajin asanu abeji sela ncheyin Abdullahi Ajiya wana da shaba wa bai na bada wa ga da kun salagiya no ayiko ge al habibi anya bane be majiye yiko yin bai ga ayi betu pege salaya no azmi saya kwa ga aye no aje kuna jin ba be ba ma azakala ba jin na bai be kun jin wi da ayoshi inje aza aje aye ku aje gaba nchedo no aya aje alaluma da shugaban minista kinzinda Mohammed Musa Bello we lalo ababaji an karipin an tunu sakari bo no shoko bo jiwo sadi no ayu na ba ayu ge Emmanuel Kyauta yapuyin oneze yakubu wale sheba we be na bedai wa ngege ozanu we be no minista aputa wone jin ya kan kai pe ya no a gwamnati atun jimba wolu sade adosila wagan ga sibila lo nu abiyi wen be jinza nu nwo ye bugbafu sade de hei nu owo be gbedna pokun na gbanya ganbian ngaruko Philip Aduda wagan ga abepewo ehwi begbe nu kan wi onko belen ayan pie ona pie shi ba jegun aba ahwi kunu obenya abo bagwa wala nu saisu
Jama'a masu kallo da sauraron mu assalamu alaikum barkamu da sharwa ga fassarar labaranmu na mai karanta Yusuf Yakubu. Ministan lafiya na ƙasa Dr. Osage Henare ya kaddamar da wani tsari wanda zai taimaki matan Najeriya musamman waɗanda shekarun haihuwarsu ba su wuce ba. Wakilar mu Aisha Uba Ali ta shaida mana cewa tsarin bayanan wanda aka yi shi na da burin ilmantar da matan akan zaɓin yadda za su haihu. Kuma ya kawo shi ne tare da haɗin gwiwar wasu ƙungiyoyi masu zaman kansu. A ci gaba da hidimar da take yi ta taimakon masu ƙaramin ƙarfi da marasa galihu a tsakanin al'umma musamman a yanzu da ake shirye-shiryen bikin ƙaramar sallah. Wakilin Abdullahi Ajiya ya shaida mana cewa sama da bayan Allah mata masu ƙaramin ƙarfi 300 ne suka samu gudunmuwar kayan sallah wanda ƙungiyar Alhabibiya ta Abuja ta basu inda ƙungiyar ta buƙace su da su ɗinka kayan su yi amfani da su, a yayin da wasu daga cikin matan suka bayyana farin cikinsu. Musa Bello ya yi wa iyalan sarkin Karo Emmanuel kyauta yafi da ya rasu ta'aziyar rasuwarsa. Wakilin Mushaibu ne zai Yakubu ya rawaito mana cewa ministan da sakataren hukumar birnin tarayya Olushade Adeshola ya wakilta ya bayyana marigayin a matsayin mutumin kirki mai basira wanda ya bada gudunmawar ci gaban masarautarsa da al'ummarsa. Ya kara da cewa a zamaninsa ya kawo zaman lafiya, kwanciyar hankali da ci gaban masarautarsa da ma birnin tarayyar ƙasa Abuja. Ƙarshen labaran namu ne kenan, mu kwana lafiya.
Osage Ehanire ehiwela usoro a ga-eji nyere ụmụ nwanyị ala anyị aka, ọkachasị ndị ka nọ n'afọ ndụ ịmụ nwa. Aisha Ubali wetara akụkọ na nke a bụ iji nyere ụmụ nwanyị aka ịmata ihe ha chọrọ n'ihe banyere ịmụ nwa. Mbọ ha na-agba ịkwalite ọnọdụ ahụike ụmụ nwanyị na-amụ nwa. O kwukwara na nke a ga-ebelata ọnwụ mgbe a na-amụ nwa. Ihe karịrị mmadụ 300 bụ ndị na-enweghị ka ọ hara ha abụla ndị wetara onyinye dị iche iche maka emume Idil Fitr na-abịa n'oge na-adịghị anya. Oyorai Abdullahi Ajia wetara akụkọ na ya bụ onyinye sitere n'aka otu ndị okpukperechi Islam akpọrọ Ala Bibi ya ngalaba isi ala anyị. Ọ gara n'ihu kwuo na onyinye ndị otu a nyere ha bụ akwa bụ nke ha ga-eji merube emume Sala. Ọ gakwara n'ihu kwuo na ndị ritere uru na ya bụ